Namaste. Welcome to the second video of Pragnadeep for learning on Excel hacks, wherein we can save time using Microsoft Excel. So there is a saying which says, time and tide wait for none. What does it mean? Is that once the time is lost, it is lost forever. We will not be able to bring it back. But the advantage what we have currently is we can save our time. Whatever time is available with us, we can save that time and we can do whatever things we want. So how do we do that with regard to the Excel? Is many of you may be using Excel for 3 to 4 hours a day, right? If it is brought down to 1 hour or 1.5 hours, then you can imagine how much time you can save, almost 50 to 60% of your time, and then you can use those things, that hours, in your productivity, right? So we are going to see that in XLOOKUP, which is the continuation of the previous video. So let's see how we can use more and more time in XLOOKUP. So this is the table which talks about some invoice details and some sales details. So here in the previous video, we had talked about one or two of the advantages of XLOOKUP compared to VLOOKUP. But here I'm going to show you the additional features what XLOOKUP has got for us. So here I'll just start with VLOOKUP only. So what is that advantage we have got in XLOOKUP? So that I'll be able to show you comparing to VLOOKUP. So here in the invoice number, against the invoice number, if I want the dates, okay, so what normally I do is I'll go to VLOOKUP and I'll take this data and I take the range, and here I'll take this 2, and everyone knows how to put the VLOOKUP formula. So based on that, we have taken this and we can get this date. Okay, now if you want to get this category, item, SKU, quantity sold and sales amount, then we have to put separate VLOOKUP for this, right? I have to go for VLOOKUP, and once again I have to select the invoice number and then select the range, right? And then if there is a category, this is third column, 0 and okay. So now I have got the category. Like this, I have to put at least these many, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are 7 columns. So I have to put VLOOKUP 7 times, right? So instead of that, if I go with XLOOKUP, this can be done in only one formula. How we can do is I go to XLOOKUP, okay, and I'm selecting this invoice number. And as I have mentioned or given that in the previous video itself, so here I'm seeing where that lookup array exists. The lookup array is in the column A. I will select this entire thing, right? And I'll put the comma, and then it is asking me for the return array. Return array, what I do is I take the entire range, okay, and then I close this. I'll select the range and I'll close the bracket and enter. Now you see all these things have come within one formula itself. The date, category, item, SKU, quantity sold, sales amount, everything. So how is this? So if I copy this below that down, and I'll get all these things at one go. So this is an advantage of XLOOKUP over VLOOKUP. So this one we have seen. And XLOOKUP, how to put the XLOOKUP formula, we have already seen in the previous video. So now we will go to the next example of how we can consider this as an array formula. So XLOOKUP is an array formula. What does it mean? I'll just show you here. If you take XLOOKUP, if you take VLOOKUP, for example, and take this formula, you will get to know, you'll get the, for example, I'm not taking the category. I'll just change the heading here. I will go for SKU. Okay, and I'll put VLOOKUP formula and I'll take this range. So you'll get only the value for this particular row. That means invoice number 009. Instead of that, if we use XLOOKUP formula with the range, instead of selecting only one invoice number, I can select the entire range here, and then I will go for the lookup array. So this is the lookup array in which our invoice number lies. So I'll select this F4, and then I'll go for the return array. Where is the return array? That is SKU. I'll take this up, the entire row, and then I close the bracket. Now you see with one formula only, we are able to get the entire the invoice number, the 4 invoice numbers are available here. And the SKU for all the 4 invoice numbers, we have got it here with one formula. So that is also time saving, right? Here I'm showing only 4 invoice numbers. If you have 100 invoice numbers like that, you'll be able to do it with one formula only instead of copying that VLOOKUP formula down the line for 100 rows. So this is one more hack, time saving hack I can use for Excel in XLOOKUP formula. Now, here if you see the situation, what has happened here is invoice number in this range is in the middle, right? But for the VLOOKUP or the lookup value, I need item and category which are on the left hand side of the invoice number. Normally, as we have seen in the previous video, VLOOKUP, the limitation of VLOOKUP is it cannot give the lookup value on the left. So, but XLOOKUP, we can see it on the left, but still there is one more twist I am going to give you here is that here in this range, we have category on the left hand side and item on the right hand side. But my requirement here is I need item first and category next. So how do we do that? We can use XLOOKUP formula once again, and I'll select this invoice number and then lookup array. What is the lookup array? Where this invoice number lies, it is in column D. I'll select the entire column here and then I'll put a comma. Instead of in the return array formula, I will go for one more formula like choose. There is a formula called choose which talks about selecting the column numbers. It is talking about index numbers. I'll just take the flower bracket. I'll say 1 and 2 because I need 2 columns here. I'll take 1 and 2. Put a comma. Now, what are the values we want against this invoice number? I want one is the first category. First thing is category. I'll select the entire column and then I'll put a comma, and it is asking for second now because in the choose function we have given 1 and 2. Now I have selected the first column, which is item. My second column is category. Okay, I have selected this and I'll close the bracket for choose and I'll close the bracket for XLOOKUP. So now I'll put the enter here. Then now you see, even on in the original range, I have category on the left hand side and in my item on the right hand side. But here, because of the choose function, you can get item on the left hand side and category on the right hand side. And I'll just copy this here below them. So for all these things, it is giving me, okay, there is a mistake with the fixing of the cell. I have to fix only the column, not the row. So now I'll copy this down the line and you have got invoice number 4. If you see here, it is lotion and personal care. And in 9, it is yogurt and daily products, right? So everything is coming here. So with only single formula, you will be able to get the 2 values, and copying also becomes easy. This is called array formula in Office 365. If you don't have Office 365, you will not be able to use XLOOKUP function. But many of you are working professionals, and in your organization, definitely you will have Office 365 is what I believe. So if you don't have, if you are an entrepreneur and if you want to use XLOOKUP function and all the Office 365 functions, then you have to go for subscription of Office 365. It is a very good investment for your speeder work, and then you can even think about growing faster in your career. So this is how we are bringing out the Excel videos, and we'll keep on giving you the more and more videos with regard to XLOOKUP and even the other Excel functions, wherein you can save more time, and definitely you can put your time, the saved time, in the productive work. So that is what is our main objective of coaching Excel. So hope this helps. Thank you.